right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started. So, first things first, let's look at the economic data that's coming out today. We've already had two FOMC members who have spoken already. Kaskari and Goolsby both have spoken prior to now, one at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, the other at 8 a.m. At 9:15 a.m., we'll have FOMC member Barr speaking, which is, according to forexfactory.com, not expected to have a significant impact on the markets. However, at 10 o'clock, FOMC member Waller will be speaking, and there is expected to be a significant impact from that. The difference probably is the others probably are just doing like some remarks that were already written down and known ahead of time, and then that's about it. But probably the other person's got some sort of interactive interview or something like that going on. Um, After that, at 1:25 p.m. Eastern, we have FOMC member Logan speaking. And then at 3 p.m., we have consumer credit month over month. So, simply put, at 10 o'clock, we can expect a significant market impact that could last for some time. And then after that, it should dissipate and we get back to whatever we're doing at that time. All right, so having said that, yesterday, looking at the NASDAQ, the QQQ ETF, the market was mostly neutral, opened and closed in the same, not the same place, but in a similar location. Also, the action was very rough. So obviously, this would mean that a lot of stocks would have looked similar to the QQQ, which means that it would be more, it probably would have been likely to be more difficult to find anything that was moving. But interestingly enough, yesterday did have a lot of great opportunities. So let's take a look at them. All right, so first of all, we have Apple, which despite the market's uncertainty, Apple was able to reach target number one of 177.97, and it almost reached its target number two of 179.55. It peaked out at 179.43, so it fell 12 cents short of target number two. And generally, pretty not too difficult to exploit. Pretty straightforward. We also had, let's see, Microsoft, which was able to reach its target number one of 356.65 before topping out. As far as stocks going down, we had quite a few of those. Affirm was able to reach its target number one to the downside of 21.50. Enphase was a super downtrend. It was able to reach target number two to the downside very quickly, which was 77.79. Then it bottomed out at 76.25 and then returned right back to where that T2 was. In fact, it closed almost exactly at T2, and its VWAP it also was almost exactly at negative T2. So pretty textbook there. Next up, we have Rivian, which also had a very strong downtrend. It easily surpassed target number one to the downside of 17.42. It then bottomed out at 16.89, which was only 7 cents ahead of its negative T2. So it never reached it, but got pretty close. Baidu was bearish, able to reach its target number one to the downside of 108.44, but not able to go much beyond that. Let's see what else we had. PayPal, that was also a great downtrend, able to reach its target number two to the downside of 55.08, and then basically flattened out after that. And although this was not one of the stocks that I mentioned, we did discuss this, Moderna. It snuck up under the radar, got to its negative T2 too fast. But in case anyone did catch it, this was also a very great move down where Moderna was able to surpass its negative T2, which was 74.69, and actually went almost double that distance. So pretty impressive. All right, so yesterday, lots of good trends, mostly in the downward direction. So this should have been something that we were able to exploit some of these stocks, if not all of them. Looking at what's moving in the pre-market on my list right now, and I have Alto, which is currently down 47.71%, 1.3 million shares traded. It is trading above $1 per share as well, so that qualifies for our pre-market radar. Remember that this list is focused on stocks, not options. So we're only looking for stock opportunities here. It is possible that some of these stocks that come up will be optionable, but generally speaking, they're not. Sorry, not Uber. Sorry, typed in the wrong stock. DDOG. DDOG Datadog is up 24% on 1.8 million shares. It is currently trading at $98, just over $98 per share. Now, this looks like some very, I mean, whatever it was, that's very strong news. Earnings, okay, that's what it was. So it must have done really well in earnings. Oh yeah, it crushed it. Earnings were estimated to be 1 penny, but they returned 45 cents a share. That's incredible. So this is a good example of a predictable response from earnings. Like if you beat earnings by, multiples of what was expected, most likely your stock goes up. In this case, usually like when earnings come out, it's not that easy to know which way the stock will go. Even if they beat earnings, it doesn't guarantee it's going to go up. In fact, there's really nothing, like you can look at it yourself, it's about 50-50. But when you have a massive surprise, in other words, let's say they were expecting the company to earn 45 cents a share, instead they lose $4 a share, yeah, most likely that stock's going to go straight down, right? Anyway, so there we go. So Datadog is an optionable stock. There's a possibility that may be moving at the open. During the day, Rodney, we actually look for stocks anyway. So in the pre-market, I'm only looking for stocks that would be appropriate for stock trading. During the regular session, we look for stocks in general. So pre-market is not that important for options trading because we're more concerned about finding an actual trend than trying to guess which stock is going to move at the open. These are stocks that are moving now that are tradable, but you can't trade options in the pre-market, so it's not going to do any good to look at them before the market opens. But Datadog is one that we can look at the bell. It's already on our list anyway, on a regular basis. Now, that being said, next one up is OLPX, which is currently up 25%, 1.38 million shares traded. It's over $1 per share, so all good there. That matches all of our criteria, so we'll add that to our radar, OLPX. All right, and then lastly, as far as what I can see so far, I see VTYX, which is currently down 77%. That's huge. So I'm guessing this is some sort of pharmaceutical stock. Let's see, biosciences. And what happened here? They must have failed. Yep, phase 2. All right, so this one dropped because they pulled their psoriasis treatment after phase 2 trial as efficacy results missed target, shares plunge. This is normal. So if you have a stock that's a biotech stock or any something similar, and they have some treatment or drug that they're developing and it fails, and that's the only thing they've got, most likely the stock loses about 75% of its value, almost to the penny, almost every time. So this is pretty textbook. So that means that this stock, it may recover some of its ground lost, but more likely it drifts a little lower, but we'll see. So VYTX does qualify. We'll add that to our radar. All right, so if you folks see any other stocks which meet the following four criteria that we've been looking at, must be a NASDAQ listed stock. Currently, it must be at least $1 per share in the pre-market. It also has to trade at least 1 million shares. A volume in the current pre-market, doesn't matter what it was doing yesterday or the day before or the year before, as long as it's currently trading 1 million shares or more in the pre-market. And we also want a stock that has a significant price change. 6% positive or negative or greater is what we're looking for. So if we see any stocks that meet those Four criteria: NASDAQ listed, at least $1 per share in the pre-market, at least 1 million shares traded in the pre-market, and at least the current 6% price change from where it was yesterday, positive or negative. Any stocks meet those four criteria? Let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look. Other than the ones, of course, I've already mentioned. So far, we've got ALTO, DDOG, OLPX, and VYTX. Those are the four that we have so far. All right, PXMD, let's take a look. Okay. All right, so PXMD, that's a definite. Currently up nearly 100%. 4.2 million shares, very actively trading, over $1 per share, so that's great. So that does qualify. PXMD is up because they announced the publication of its Autism Spectrum Disorder Phase 2 study results in peer-reviewed journal. So apparently people like the results, but not sure if that's going to keep it going. But nevertheless, currently it looks interesting. So PXMD will definitely be added to the list. LIFW, let's find out. Okay, that one currently down 17% on 1.4 million shares of volume, trading above $1 per share. Certainly qualifies. We'll add that to our pre-market radar as well. LIFW. And if you see any others, let me know. So far we've got ALTO, DDOG, OLPX, so it's three, and then we got VYTX, PXMD, and LIFW. So far we've got 6 stocks on the radar. Okay, so I'll give it another 30 seconds. If you guys see any other stocks that meet the criteria, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will publish these stocks into the coaching room in just a second. Then I'll be joining the coaching room later. So please be sure to like the video as well. I see we have 14 likes and more than 14 people are here. So please be sure to like the video by clicking the like button. That helps us tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. They love when they see those likes. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you always get updated anytime something is added. And other than that, folks, if you're not familiar with our program, this is a publicly available broadcast. So if anyone's here who's not a part of our program or maybe watching a replay and would be interested in learning more about us, just check out fundertrading.com. That's our website. You'll see a link to that in the description of this video. Other than that, for those of you who are part of the coaching program, I'll see you there in about 25 minutes, and I'll post the list for the Premarket Pulse in just a second in that room as well. Okay? All right, folks, have a great trading session. I'll see everyone for tomorrow's Premarket Pulse. Take care.